Hello, everyone. Welcome to Castles and Cantrips, Tome of Knowledge, where we give you knowledge for free, and you can even come back for seconds.
Yep. Just there you go.
Oh man, I hope that everyone's having a Monday, but a good Monday. I'm gonna just warn everyone, and you all have noticed this too. With my esteemed co-host, Virtual Spectre, and moves like Jagger from the GG and crew. See how I just segued right to introducing you.
Boom. Beautiful.
I'm very scatterbrained today, and my brain is a little bit everywhere. And I think it's because even though I still say the same amount announcements of 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, I'm in Central Time, so it's weird for me. I'm not used to being here at 8 o'clock.
You just don't exist.
I'm like Cinderella. I just turned into a pumpkin after like 7 o'clock, and then that's what happens. Oh man. Glad to be back on Tome of Knowledge. Glad to be talking about some things. And this is a little gem that was gifted to us by Moobs. Where he just found the 44 rules for D&D. He just found them.
Yep.
Just laying somewhere.
They were hidden in a tome that I stumbled upon.
Yeah.
And then the book fell, and the 44 rules of Dungeons and Dragons appeared before me, and my life is for the better now.
Excellent. Before we get started, I would like to encourage all of you to check out our YouTube if you haven't, at Casters and Cantrips. And you can also check out our Discord, where if you want to share your 44 rules of D&D with us, you can, and no one can stop you. And
That's true.
I mean, they can't do it. Once you're in there, you're in there, unless you're not. And then, as always, go check out our Patreon for early access to things that you would want access to, like podcasts. How about that?
Mm-hmm. You know, I had an idea. I did a giveaway for a T-shirt that I was wearing, and then people were like, "Can we get the shirt you're wearing?" And I was like, "No," but I was like, maybe for Patreon. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
you don't want to wear my shirts.
yeah. I kind of sweat a lot, but maybe people might like that. But I don't want to sell my shirts. I hardly ever go clothes shopping anyway, so all the clothes that I have are few.
Same.
But yeah. Anyway, so what we're talking about is this is a spoiler alert, everyone. This is from Reddit, from D&D horror stories subreddit. The post is actually taken down, and it's very sad. But I mean, how the internet works is you can still find it. So, just to set up our premise today, and I think this is kind of fun. And we've talked about this idea of there's a lot of stuff out there on Reddit of just really interesting conversations about people's campaigns, both good and bad. That I think it'd be interesting to kind of I don't know, discuss things that are happening in the D&D sphere.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in D&D. Not everyone gets to tell their story or share their stories, and I think Max told me he didn't read any of the rules yet, and I've only read the first third of these rules, and I have informed or developed an opinion that might be controversial, but we'll see how everyone reacts as we go through the rules. I'm very curious how you're going to react, Max.
I remember when this post dropped because I saw a bunch of Twitter chatter about it, and I think I only read a couple of them, but I saw a lot of people's opinions on it, and
Interesting.
some were pretty spicy. So
I'm interested to see what VS thinks personally.
If these were our rules, would
How
VS
would you
still be here
react?
to play D&D?
I'm wondering, is there anything in the D&D world that someone could say that would anger VS? Because I think you're pretty laid back.
so From the things I read on this,
Just putting
like
you on the spot.
it seems like a lot of this would be like a non-issue for me because I'm not the type of person that this post seems to be targeted towards.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you guys will see when we get into it, but
Okay.
I'm just like, if I was at a table and some of these rules are required, I don't know if I would be at that table.
Mm.
Not for
people-
the DM's rules, but the fact that he has to do, or they have to like lay out some of these.
Yeah.
I mean, some are pretty common sense, right? And then some are pretty wild. But I feel like the reason these rules are made is because something happened.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
I haven't
I-
read any of them, so I'm curious.
I feel
Yeah.
like we'll touch on session 0 stuff quite a bit.
Our recurring theme.
yeah, that's just
Of,
so important. It's like the first thing you should absolutely do every time you think about getting a game together.
have a
Yep.
session 0.
All right, there are 44 rules. So how do you guys want to divide this?
Well,
Do you want
I'm
to
not
power read them?
I'm not selfish, so I'm going to share it on screen for the first
Oh,
the first 16 of these. And we
Do you
did block
wanna-
out the names. You can thank VS for his wonderful contribution of blocking out their names for me,
Talent.
because I was like, I don't know how to do this right now. It's right before. We should block this out. So everything, everyone thank VS for his contribution of
Thank you,
of-
VS.
Yeah. Of quick thinking. So this is a post. I think it was D&D horror stories and RPG horror stories. I think it was posted in both or cross posted. But their DM laid out 44 rules for D&D. It's like you said, Zeus, the 44 hidden herbs and spices of Dungeons and Dragons. And it says that their
Got all
DM
that
posted
flavor?
it. Yeah. I hope this is going to add so much flavor to their games. It says that they just posted this after a hiatus from their game. The first line, I'll just put shit out now that we want to change before anyone goes through anything. Perfect. It seems like there's some no language in here, but we're all grown-ups, right? So
Yeah.
Number 1, I'm timing turns. If I just stopped there, I'm okay with it. If I stop there, I'm okay with it. Then they say they don't care if it's unfair in your opinion because your spells are hard, you don't know what square to move to, or you get a minute to know all the actions, blah 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 blah. Or I skip your turn. I'm okay with timing turns if the table needs it.
Yeah, if you nailed it right there. Like if the table needs it, but like
Mhm.
D&D is an ever evolving landscape, and one player would do something that would you had something planned, but then player 1 did X, and now because of X, I can't do Y, so now I have to think of something else. But
Mhm.
Yeah.
totally understandable with turns taking too long, especially if you have a big group.
Yeah. If people are taking too long because they're wasting time in conversation, or they literally just aren't paying attention to what's happening, it's understandable. But like Moob said, highly dependent on the context of what's
Mhm.
going on. Because there's been several times in our campaigns where as I was waiting for my turn, I had a whole plan in mind, and then something completely different happens that then I had to reformulate it on my turn. Granted, I'm not like a magic caster, but it still takes time to like quickly think of something new. It would take longer than a minute usually, but
I would say I can tell already from point number 1 that the person who came up with these rules is not a nice person, probably, or they're probably not a pleasure to play D&D with. I'll just say that. And they were probably on a hiatus for a reason. But I will say an alternative to this, or just another way of flavoring it, is I've seen people say, hey, if you take less than 1 minute on your turn, you can add a D4 to your rolls, whatever you're doing on your turn. That's more of a carrot instead of a stick. But if you had a timing problem, people might want to be like, oh, I might need that D4 for this cool thing I want to do and want to think of things faster. So Yeah, those are rules, ultimatums. Same,
Maybe
right?
the way they're phrased, but yeah, I think 1 minute is too unforgiving.
I don't.
That's 1 minute?
Mm-hmm.
That's too short.
Mm-mm.
Let me ask this: as a DM, do you want to have to pay attention to a timer on everybody's turn?
No, this is something where I would hope that a DM would only pull this rule out of their tool bag is if the table was being constantly bogged down with indecision in combat. That's the only time I would
Sure.
bring up something like this. And then I would probably use the incentive instead of just saying I'm skipping your turn.
The other way you can make this interesting is if there's a specific encounter where stuff's happening in the party is on a timetable, then you could probably pull this out to give like an added sense of urgency to like, hey, you got to get down this dungeon because your good friend NPC is going to be killed by a bad guy if you don't move it. You know what I mean? You can give it like a little flavor that way, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not how this is.
Yeah, I think
on here.
that a minute is enough time if you actually sit and watch how long a minute takes and like what you could do on your turn. Because most people think about what they're trying to do anyway. But I digress. I kind of want to move on. I want to like quick hit on these because we got a bunch to go
Good.
through. I want to
We
get
got a
through the
lot.
whole list here. Some of these might be
Alright.
very fast, but
Yeah.
anyone want to read the next one? We can just round robin this thing.
Sure. If you want harder fights, bring a second character sheet and expect to twiddle your thumbs when you die. I'm not going to baby anyone.
Oh.
So, so I guess this is him responding to feedback, and
Yeah, that was my guess.
but went a little too extreme.
It seems like someone taking feedback personally.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, my fights aren't hard enough. Well, watch this, and I'm gonna swing the pendulum all the way over the other way.
Yeah.
You know, D&D is a collaborative experience, right? So there's a lot of give and take, a lot of trust between players and game masters. But clearly this person never went to art school. Because when you go to art school, you get feedback and you get beaten to the ground. So you don't let feedback bother you anymore.
or they're not a software developer because you get feedback and the first time I remember I got a code review, I was like, man, do I suck now? They're like, no, it's not like that.
All right. Should we move on?
Go for it.
If you call me or my roles unfair, I'll get up and go home, and you can, if you got a ride with me, you can find your own way back and suck it up.
God. Think about this. BS, does that seem reasonable to you?
Somebody needs to chill.
Yeah.
It's not that serious.
I don't understand what they mean by like my roles being unfair, because that could go in different directions. Are they like the things that they're calling for roles unfair, or are they saying that the DM's roles in general are just unfair because maybe they're rolling in an unfavorable way to the party,
or setting crazy DCs, or
yeah, not a lot of context, but if it's the roles in question, then just take away the DM screen. Show the players the roles. If it's that, unless the DM is fudging the numbers to go in their favor or trying to create a dramatic situation. I don't know.
Yeah.
Definitely don't get it right from that person though.
Yeah, definitely not. And I'm totally with you, Jim. We just said the 44 rules of D&D because that's what the post was titled, the 44 rules of D&D. I don't think there's a whole lot about this one to talk anymore because they just kind of suck.
Yeah.
What? Number 4. Okay. I'm going to take your character's loot away as regularly as you want it given out. Rule 3 will apply here.
Rule 3 is they'll get up and go home and not give you a ride back. That's
Why?
that
Why?
sounds weird. I don't understand.
The 4 of these we've read, this sounds like a disaster table. Like it just has to be.
That meets in person, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So there's some hidden undertones of like that they'll take their character's loot away as regularly as you want it given out. Is this a response of, hey, we don't think we're getting enough loot?
Most likely.
Which is
again,
insane.
it's feedback that they cannot handle.
Yeah, need am I the asshole D&D edition? Love it. Yeah. It's generally not a good idea for players' loot to be stolen or taken away. The only thing I could think of there's a couple scenarios. One, if you're making it a very big story plot point, think like Yuffie in like Final Fantasy VII, like where all your items are stolen, but they get them back regularly, or like your characters are put in prison and have to break out Skyrim style and get in the chest and get all their loot back. Story point, I get it. Or maybe let's say that you gave someone a magic item and it's just a little overtuned, way too OP. I wouldn't take the item away though. I would just talk to the group and be like, hey, I made this too powerful and I think it's hurting the game. Can I tweak it? You know, that's how I would approach that. But this kind of just sucks.
I mean, that's because you're a great DM and a good person.
It's really hard without any context.
It is
kind of
we are lacking context for sure.
Yeah,
it could be one of those things too where maybe this DM really liked, I don't know, breaking people's gear. Like, oh, you fell down a pit, your sword snapped in half. I don't know, that'd be awful, but like
let's go to number 5 because that one just sucks.
Number 5, this one I don't like, because not everyone is comfortable with acting.
Read it, brother.
All right, I'm gonna read it like the DM. If you don't act out any of your persuasions or intimidations or any other social checks, you fail. Before you even roll, you fail immediately because you aren't even trying and you're making the game lame for everyone else.
I have a very quick rebuttal for that if you all are interested about my take.
Of course.
Fuck that.
If you don't like it, I'll pack up and go home, man. Refer to Rule 3.
God, that is the dumbest shit. So, God, this one's hitting me hard. I hope you don't mind if I go on a quick little tirade about this. First off, not everyone might want to act out a persuasion or intimidation. That maybe that's not how they role play. Maybe if you were going to play that type of game where everything was acted out, you should have had a session 0. Talk to your players about the expectations of the game. It's fully immersive. Besides the fact of not everyone might want to play the game that way, how in the hell are you supposed to act out a persuasion or intimidation before you roll? Because doesn't the roll inform how well you did in that action?
In the order of operations, that would make the most sense. Yes.
What if I played by these rules and gave the most eloquent soliloquy D&D has ever seen, and I roll a 1? How is that immersive?
Maybe this ties into the other one too, where like maybe people were doing this and their roles didn't seem to matter. Like maybe the DM was like making unfair like checks with his NPCs or something. I don't know. Yeah, that's silly.
We all agree that one's ass.
Yeah, ass. Move on. We're not going to get through all these.
Here we go.
I think so.
If you don't pick up cues for side quests, that's not my problem. Get over yourself. It's not a video game. It's a role-playing, pen and paper-based game with miniatures, not holding your hand if you choose not to pursue crap. I
I
I
mean,
don't have a problem with this because we're as
Oth-
players, we're guilty of this.
Other than the
then it's
attitude.
fine.
Yeah, the attitude's shitty, but
Get rid of the attitude, and this rule's fine. But
Yeah. D&D is not a gotta collect all the quests type game. And if you're a
yeah, you
good
don't.
DM, if they don't pick the side quest that you want to do, guess what? Put it back in your toolbox and retune it and present it at a different time. It's content. It's in the content box that you can just pull out for later.
Yeah, you can't 100% D&D.
No.
all right. That one was easy.
Is it back to me now?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Number 7.
Oh,
Number 7.
number
We gotta do that.
7. If you
We need
move
to.
to a square in combat, there's no takebacks. That's stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not playing chess here, right?
Yeah.
We're
If it's
playing a game
after
together.
your turn is over, yeah, because that complicates things really, really. That's how combat gets bogged down. But if it's on your turn, do whatever the hell you want. Remember, like, who cares?
Yeah, I think this one it probably is related to the first one about people taking too long.
Yeah. All right.
He's got
I'll
an
take Bun's
indecisive-
advice. Thank you. Next.
All right, number 8. You tell every single person what you're doing before you do it. You don't effing roll dice and then say you're casting fireball. You tell us first.
Agree, but lose the attitude. The
Yeah.
DM calls for rolls to happen.
Yeah.
Players don't initiate rolls. Players say, I want to persuade this person. And the DM says, please give me a roll.
Yeah, they could change their mind mid-action. I'm gonna do, actually, you know what? I'm gonna do this, and they rolled. I think that's fine.
Yeah. Unprompted rolls from players is a symptom of a different problem, typically. But I don't mind this, but lose the attitude.
Yep.
All right, next.
Let's see. I will give out exhaustion more frequently. If you argue, go home, or you can actually fight me over it if you can DM yourself.
So the options are if you argue with them, you can go home, you can fight the DM in real life, or you can run your own game.
I guess I'm getting exhaustion. I don't know.
I will say exhaustion can be interesting as a story element, but exhaustion in 5th edition as it stands right now is a death spiral if it gets above 1 or 2 levels. So
Yeah, I'm with Bun. I think on this, it sounds like this guy's trying to run a game and the players
Our chaos.
just not in it at the level
Yeah.
that he was thinking they would be. And they're just not playing the way he expects.
Yeah. All right, next.
It's you, Max.
Oh, it is. Thank you for keeping track because I don't remember. Every snide comment you make to an NPC will be remembered and paid back in triplicate. You also seem to believe there is little consequence. I like NPCs remembering things players do.
Whisper will remember that.
She does.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool. That's reactionary. That's a reactive world if NPCs remember what PCs are doing. The triplicate part, I mean, does that mean if they did good, they get good karma back?
It says snide.
Is that work for
Like,
I feel like this
yeah.
is only in the negative sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Heart's in the right place.
Okay, 11, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You will not be given a mega dungeon every session, please don't do that every
Yeah.
session. A temple is not the size of a small city, neither is a cave. The shit will happen when it's natural and organic. Go play some roguelikes if you want that.
That's kind of how I run D&D.
I mean, that right there is common sense. I mean, you don't have to add the last part about them go playing video games if that's what they want, but
Yeah. I think it's fair assessment. If they want, unless they communicated and wanted a mega dungeon every single session, but that's not the kind of game they're running.
That's a session 0 thing. If they want a dungeon delve the whole time.
Number
There was
12. Oh, go
There was
ahead,
no
Goose.
session 0 for this campaign.
Absolutely not.
The travel portion is done. You want to travel continents, doing literally whatever you want, whenever you want. Go play World of Warcraft or play D&D with ChatGPT.
It's clearly a situation where the players and the DM are playing two different games. No what else to say about that one.
Yeah, this one's we need context. So.
Yeah. Number 13. If you're late with no good reason, I'm going to have your character's hit points for the entire session. Man, I get it if you have a player who's late all the time. That's you don't solve out of game problems in game. That's not how you do things. You don't solve out of the game like interpersonal issues inside of your game. Hey, if you have a player who's late all the time, how about you talk to them? And if maybe they just can't be there on time, I don't know, maybe move the time a little bit. Or if they can't commit, maybe it's not the game for them. I mean, God forbid you talk to somebody.
It feels like a job, like I'm going to dock your pay if you're late again type of situation.
Yeah.
All right, number 14. If you don't show up for no good reason, and that will be determined by me alone, if no one else has the guts to say shit for fear or upsetting one another, the first time that you'll find yourself either losing a whole level or up to 3 major items of your own. The second time you do this in a row, you'll be removed from the chat and the group full stop. I have no effing time for people not showing up.
See my answer for the previous question?
Yeah.
Yep. Just I feel like this is all directed to one specific player now. Just
It sounds like it.
I'm with Varl on this one. Is just this no D&D is better than this. But sorry, go ahead.
Agreed.
Yeah, 15 is if you get too stoned or drunk to play, I will go home without a warning. Your warning is here.
I mean, that's a reasonable ask.
Again, it sounds like this DM probably was expecting to have like a solid game, and he's with a bunch of people that don't seem to care as much about the game as he does. I should say, I don't know.
And then 16's like right with that. We can cover that one too.
Yeah.
If you get up for bong or smoke or whatever breaks every 10 minutes, I'll simply pack up and go home. Like,
oh, these guys are from the UK.
Because of the word bloke.
Yeah.
Don't they say that in Australia as well?
Maybe. Yeah. I don't
know. I had to ask Nina. Nina, did they say bloke? She's in our YouTube chat. Remember, check us out on YouTube.
Yeah.
This could be.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, I got
first page done. I mean, that's
got him.
It's reasonable to ask your players not to be drunk or stoned when you're playing. It really affects the experience.
All right.
17. I don't remember whose turn it is.
Yours, Max.
Guidance, divination spells, owls, and whatever spells I decide are too fucking stupid or banned outright. No more fucking guidance.
Okay.
They must have just came right hot off of Baldur's Gate 3.
Yep.
That's what this is.
Here's the thing. Most people don't play guidance correctly. Typically, you would normally do guidance before someone does what they do. Yes. But almost always it's like guidance beforehand. And I can see how that could be annoying. You could talk to your players about that. But even so, when that happens, remember, guidance has a vocal component and people know that they're casting this spell guidance. So if they're doing it all the time, people know that they're being fucked with. Right?
Yeah. I mean, if you watch Critical Role, they do this a lot too. They'll say like guidance, like as the person's gonna make a roll. So
yeah, like I'm okay with that. But if like a DM has the right to say, hey, these spells and these things, I'm not going to include them in my game. That you can also do that too. But it's also the player's right to say, I don't want to play that game anymore because that's stupid. So
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, moving on. Number 18. You get one chance at a skill check. If you F up, your party doesn't get their chance to do the same check. Think carefully who's good at what.
I agree with this.
I don't have
because
an
Yeah.
issue with this.
One
Just
thing I don't
say it
like is roll. Oh, I
nicely.
try. Why try?
Bogs down the game. If you're gonna help somebody, help them when they're going for their check, but they fail, then they fail.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next.
Bun says, "Oh, we do that every time." No, you don't, because I've
I
I've
don't
done
think
it in a creative way where I'm like, "Would you like to help them? You have to be trained in it." And then I will also say, "Hey, everyone can roll this," kind of thing, depending on the situation.
Yeah.
So
Okay. 19. Discussion of metagame details in game will result in instant damage to your character.
this is giving me damage to my character personally.
I mean, yeah, I mean, most games, it's just however they want to play it. But yeah, metagaming in game is probably takes it out of the experience. But taking damage to your character is excessive.
Yeah, I'm taking psychic damage from reading these rules. Agree. 19. Rules lawyering fellow players is encouraged. Don't like that. Actuallying me will just result in me telling you to fuck off. Okay.
Wait, what?
So
So you
it's
just contradict
okay for
themselves there?
people to like rules lawyer fellow players, but
But
they're not
not the
allowed
DM.
to do it to the DM.
So I have 2 points here. Number 1, don't rules lawyer another player unless they ask for help. That's why the DM is there, because it can be overwhelming with multiple people telling someone how to do something. So, 1, if there's something that they need help with, the DM needs to take care of it, unless that player says, "Hey, can you help me?" I'm actuallying me. I get where their heart might be, but there's a nicer way to do that. Of, I mean, this happens sometimes too, where I don't remember every single rule in D&D. If someone remembers it and tells me, great, I will use it. Otherwise, I'll say I'm going to rule this way, and then I'll look it up later.
All right, 21. You roll your dice within view of 2 players who aren't you standard. Who aren't your standard?
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that is. It must be British slang. You roll them neatly or nearly, and you roll them on the table. Failing to do these 3 things will automatically fail whatever roll you did, arguing that you actually rolled validity when you clearly didn't in an automatic critical fail. So I don't really have an
This
opinion on this. It's just weird.
this seems like a DM who thinks they have players that cheat on their rolls.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then you've got to think of a better way to do it, or kick that person out. Because if you think someone are cheating on their dice rolls, and that, I think that's a bigger issue just in general, because that player doesn't understand what D&D is about. Because if you just succeed at everything, then there's no stakes anymore. But if it were me, if I thought someone was cheating on dice rolls, I wouldn't instill all this stuff. I'd have a talk with them, and then after that, I'd probably just kick them out, ask them to leave.
Yeah. Next.
Okay. 22. Instant death traps and mechanics are coming into place. If you call these things unfair moving forward, I will laugh at you and tell you to fuck off and cry some more.
Stupid.
Okay.
I don't know what you guys, whatever you want to say.
Just next is all I have to say.
Rocks fall and you die. On to the next one. I will not give you random magical items, and vendors will not stock them. They are meant to be rare and hard to acquire. I like it.
Yeah, that's how we roll.
If you establish again what type of the world it is
Mm-hmm.
and the prevalence of magic, and then you can't expect every shop in town to carry a +2 greatsword.
Yeah. 24.
Is that me?
I think it's Moobs.
Me? Yes. Random encounters in the form of random dragons or strange mysterious road traders or a band of goblin sex workers isn't going to happen. Go play Baldur's Gate 3.
There it is.
Okay. Uh yep. So our theory is correct. They came hot right off of Baldur's Gate 3.
You don't have to have random encounters in your game. You don't have to do that, but maybe they expected it. So maybe you should have a talk with your players.
25.
But it totally could happen. Anyways, yeah.
I don't care what Reddit said about X or Y ruling.
Hard agree. Next.
Fair.
I actually give less of an F about what your mate's D&D group did. Hard agree. Next.
Yeah. Different table, different rules.
Yeah.
All right. Saying anything to me about other players not liking me doing X or Y without them saying it directly to me will result in me kicking you out of the group. Don't use someone else to push your own agenda.
I need more context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next.
You're
not to sit down. Oh, is it you or me?
Go, you do it.
Yes.
Okay. You're not to sit down and have a 2-hour discussion about what Samson from Bondora secondary did 3 weeks ago when you come to play. Take the 15 to 20 minutes I used to set up and review my notes to talk to each other, then sit down to play.
Hard agree. If like I like that there's a time in the beginning for everyone to chit chat and and we don't have this problem because we're on a timetable of when our stream starts.
Mm-hmm.
But there have been games I've played in where there's like a 45-minute lead up where people are talking about what's going on and like outside of the game, which is fine if that's how you want to play the game. But for me, I agree. It's like, hey, here's like the chit chat time, but once the DM's ready to play the game, it's time to play, kind of thing.
And then you always do a recap as
Yeah.
well at the beginning, so
which is
we're
nice.
on track.
All right, 29.
Saying stuff like, guys, come on, we're not here to have fun, we're here to play D&D. This is serious business is rude and dismissive of how much work I put into this. I will simply go home if I hear this.
You're supposed to have fun playing D&D.
It's reading like a backhanded, like players are not like
It sounds like
they think
they want to be
he's
serious,
treating
but
them.
they're not.
Well, it seems like
the opposite.
The players are saying, "Oh, we're not here to have fun." Like they're making fun of the DM as they're taking it too seriously.
Yeah.
So it seems like a mismatch of the expectations of how the DM wants them to take the game versus what the players are. Because there's different campaigns of like this is serious, or there's like this is slapstick comedy, like D&D type stuff, and that's a sort of a miscommunication. But I will say that on number 29, like if you agreed to run a certain type of campaign and they don't really respect like the DM's time they put into it, because DMs take a lot of time for this stuff. I take a lot of time in our game specifically. I get how I would be upset if people were being kind of flippant about it or weren't respecting kind of the amount of time you put into it, but this just seems like a mismatch of the type of game that they're playing.
Yeah.
30, nothing really discussed. It's just don't order food randomly. We should all eat together at a specific time or not at all. So, I mean, people get hungry, they get hungry, but If everyone's cool with eating together, then sweet.
31 is kind of the same. No food or drinks near my stuff. If you
Fair.
ruin something, you pay for it. Blah blah blah.
Pro tip: have your D&D table, and then get some TV trays, and that's where people put their food. Works great for board game night.
All right.
Let's see.
32, Max.
Arguments
32.
between party members outside of roleplay will be resolved by me giving the definite ruling. If you don't like it, go home. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a problem with that, other than the go home things.
Yeah. Yeah, DM's ruling, and then let that be the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
33. I don't give a F what they did in Critical Role or what one guy on Reddit says. If you think it's all make believe, so you can do whatever you want, I would run. The world I run works on internal rulings and the lore I created specifically for it.
Agree.
Yeah, he doesn't want Herber motives. Murder hobos? Hobo murders?
Murder
People who kill
hobos.
things. Yes.
I mean, I totally agree with it. Every game is its own game, and I kind of feel bad for Matt Mercer for having the Mercer effect named after him. But also, they make a shit ton of money, so there you go.
I mean, can't hate that.
No.
34. Every single person in this chat is having debuffs applied to their character that should have occurred a long time ago. This will be specific to characters. Nah. If you didn't apply it, then you don't apply it now.
Yeah, he's talking about, or they are talking about retconning some stuff, I guess.
Yeah, retroactively debuffing people. Nah, find another opportunity to do it.
Mm-hmm.
35?
Is it me again?
Yep.
Yeah. If you don't bring your sheet, you don't play. I mean, if you don't have a character sheet, it's hard to play, but
yeah, it's really hard.
Put your character sheet in a cloud storage, or better yet, leave your sheet where you play D&D and ask nicely if you can put your folder there with the rest of their D&D stuff.
Yeah. 36. If you don't bring dice, borrow some. Yeah, I mean, I have a billion dice. Anyone can borrow dice anytime.
Yeah.
Great. This is the most reasonable one I've seen the whole time. Wow.
Let's see. 37. When we play D&D, I'm not your friend. That doesn't mean you treat me like an enemy during the game. It means I'm no longer being nice.
I want you all to remember this. When we're playing D&D, I'm not your friend. I'm kidding.
All right, I'm gonna be a murder hobo now.
No, and just this creates the stupid air of like adversarial relationship between DM and player, which is I hate.
Yeah, you don't want that.
No. All right, next we're in the home stretch.
We are
already.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
38.
I think it's
you, Max.
Man, I can't keep track of the
cycle. I got you.
If you treat me poorly in any way, shape, or form after or during or before the game due to something that happened in the game, you're out. If you cannot separate game from reality, they don't like them a lot and they have little time to deal with that energy. I totally agree with this. Like, I mean, their language is not a good way to get this point across, but I constantly try to correct when someone's saying, like, you know, that y'all joke about it, like, oh, Max is gonna kill us this game. It's like, I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just setting up situations. Like, if something happens that the players didn't like, don't treat me poorly because of it. To be honest, it was probably a long line of decisions from several people that caused the scenario, but I can get behind this. Don't be mean to your DM.
No one. That goes for everyone in your group. You shouldn't be treating anyone poorly in your group.
Yeah.
And if you're being mistreated, then get the F out. That's not the table for you.
Yeah.
39. You will submit your spell list daily in game. If you do not give me a spell list each in game day, you will not be allowed to cast a single spell or cantrip in combat. I do not trust you guys. Do not use this against me.
I know what probably brought this on.
The spellcaster had a spell for every situation.
Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, I totally had that prepared.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I had that prepared too. Yeah.
It seems reasonable if they have a cheater player, which sounds like they have a cheater player according to the other previous rules.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right. Is that me?
Yep.
Okay. If you do not mark off spell slots or you say something like, I remember what I'm at, as a way to justify it, I will simply fail your spell, deal half your health and damage to you, and say you have no spells to cast for the rest of the day. This is a single player.
This is all for one person.
Don't solve out of game problems in game. Don't do it. Just don't. Talk to the person or kick them out if they're cheating. Like,
yeah. 41
okay.
Max.
If you break literally anything, you can buy the replacement that day or not attend till you do. I mean, yeah, don't break people's stuff. And if you do break it, you should replace it.
Yep.
Like,
right.
I think like you don't play unless you replace it is kind of a weird ultimatum, but I get it if people are breaking your stuff.
Like what? How? What scenario? So this is a rule because something happened. What scenario would someone come to your house and destroy a bunch of stuff?
Maybe the DM has a bunch of minis that his players are using, and maybe some got broken.
Yep.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
42. If you complain about the choice of music, I fully expect you to bring a whole playlist in the next session or shut the F up.
I kind of agree with this. Unless the music that they're playing is like offensive or something, but I'm assuming that it's just D&D music.
Yeah, they're just playing like songs from game soundtracks.
Okay. Cannot stress enough how little I care about how you feel about my rulings from now on.
I don't like that. You should care.
All right, Max, wrap it up.
This is
God.
it. Number 44. The last rule.
I'm never
D&D.
just threatening you. I'm promising you. That's so stupid. That's stupid. Like, come on. Hold on. Okay, Bun says read it in a threatening voice. Rule 44. I'm not threatening you. I'm promising you. There we go.
Shit. All right. Well, damn, I'm gonna listen to all the rules Max says now.
Yeah, you better.
I totally expect to see that come up and in our game at some point.
Some
Totally a
NPC
whisper
say
line.
that.
Yeah,
That's 100% a whisper line.
Now you brought it into the world, so I can't do it, VS.
no, you can do
it. Oh man,
That's it. That's the 44 rules. If you don't play by those rules, you're not playing D&D.
Yeah,
I have a good final thought for this. DM running this game, pack it up. It's no point in playing this game anymore. Find a different table.
Yeah. Yep. Agree. Oh man. Well, I mean, let me know if you liked this sort of content for Tome of Knowledge, a little bit of a Reddit roundup, or whatever you want to call it. Let us know. Just let us know in the chat or tell us in Discord or throw it in the comments if you want more of these things. We could definitely arrange that because there is no shortage of crappy D&D that people talk about.
We'll definitely post these in the Discord for everyone to take a closer look if they haven't read it on the screen or anything. But
yeah, there you go.
Sounds like that game is done.
Yeah, it's pretty much done. they were coming off a hiatus, and then they're coming in hot with those 44 rules. So
I just don't know why. Like, if you're feeling that kind of way after coming back from hiatus, I wouldn't even type this out. I'd just be like, nah, hiatus indefinitely.
yeah, bad D&D is worse than no D&D, I think, because it just eats away at your mind. You got other stuff, it's better things to do.
Yeah.
But anyway, let us know what you thought. Thanks for watching, hanging out with us. Go check us out on YouTube if you haven't. Would love that for you to go check out our YouTube. And as always, you can go look at our Patreon, where Patreon gives us 94% of the amount that you patronize us for. So if you want to support us with the most dollary dues, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
But anyway, thanks everybody. Have a fantastic night, and we'll see you Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific time for episode, was it 43? Episode 43. See you then.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.